Ukrainian FPV drone turns Russian motorcycle attack into graveyard for invaders in Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces suffered heavy losses while trying to cut off Ukrainian supply lines towards Kurakhov by advancing on motorcycles and quad bikes, which were destroyed by Ukrainian drone attacks and minefields. Russians attempted to disrupt the rear of the Ukrainian defense line by conducting a rapid uppercut attack. As it turned out, the Ukrainians were already expecting it, annihilating the Russian vanguard and leaving hundreds of dead Russians in the fields. In their continued push through the southwestern sector of Donetsk Oblast, Russian forces launched yet another costly and futile operation, this time aimed at capturing the village of Bahatir. The strategic ambition behind the offensive is clear, as the Russian command wants to press along the Zaporizhia-Kostyantynivka highway, potentially advancing toward the regional border between Dnipro and Donetsk. This objective offers no real operational or strategic value, but is driven by symbolic value and territorial optics, seizing more land to claim informational victories and extending the buffer zone around Donetsk city. To achieve this, Russia has pursued a series of tactical maneuvers designed to cut off Ukrainian positions along the highway. These so-called uppercut movements seek to rupture Ukrainian lines from the south, bypassing major defenses to isolate positions further west. The pattern has already emerged. First Dokhny, then Ulaki, then an attempted advance toward Kostyantynov, each involving flanking efforts aimed at squeezing Ukrainian logistics and forcing staggered withdrawals. Bahatir became the latest focal point in this creeping assault. Operationally, Russia tries to storm Bahatir with a combination of motorcycle and quad bike rush tactics. These rapid assaults target the village's flanks and field roads with the intent to infiltrate residential areas, occupy basements, and build up numbers to contest control. Tactically, this kind of assault depends on speed and shock, catching defenders off balance before reinforcements can respond. But Ukrainian forces were ready, and the result was a disaster for Russia. In what can only be described as a massacre, dozens of Russian troops were killed in open terrain as they attempted to cross mined fields and exposed roads. Ukrainian kamikaze drones struck with devastating precision, obliterating motorcycle teams mid-advance. Minefields tore through columns of bikes and quads. Grenades dropped by drones finished what remained. Russian corpses and wreckage littered the approaches to the village, turning the attempted assault into a bloodbath. The attack failed to even reach its staging objectives, and most of the force was annihilated before reaching shelter. Some Russian soldiers did manage to infiltrate parts of Bahatir during night movements, or under the cover of fire. When this happened, Ukrainian special forces launched immediate clearing operations. These are not random responses, but pre-coordinated sweeps designed to prevent Russian troops from consolidating within the village. Ukrainian tactics here focus on denying the enemy the time or space to build up critical mass inside the settlement. If left unchecked, even small Russian infiltration units could become a foothold capable of drawing more forces and exerting rear pressure on Ukrainian lines to the north. The counterattacks proved successful, and by the end, Ukrainians had ensured the village was 95% free of enemy presence, securing its functionality as a defensive position, as holding Bahatir is vital. By nullifying all Russian gains and making the Russians lose hundreds of soldiers for nothing, the Ukrainians underscored the futility of the Russian attacks and the general Russian approach to the war, where thousands are thrown each day into the meat grinder with more political than military logic, and yet the results are missing. Russia's reckless assault on Bahatir achieved nothing but losses. If they have managed to establish control there, the Russians would have had a launch pad to undermine the defense of Konstantinopol and force Ukrainian units to retreat, not because of direct defeat, but due to severed supply lines and the looming threat of encirclement. For Ukraine, however, the successful defense and counteractions show how discipline, coordination, and clever usage of weapons like drones and mines can turn even a vulnerable frontline village into a fortress and a graveyard for the invaders. Previously, Ukrainian FPV drones strike Russian gas platforms in Black Sea. The Security Service of Ukraine carried out a successful special operation during which targets on the captured gas drilling platforms in the Black Sea were struck. The operation, carried out by the 13th Main Directorate of the Military Counterintelligence Department of the Security Service of Ukraine, was conducted using both naval and aerial drones. First, a drone was used to strike enemy targets, having successfully destroyed the Neva radar, which was used by Russian forces to monitor the air and surface situation. The radar operates in the Ka-band and can function both autonomously and in conjunction with other sensors at the observation point. The antenna is 2.5 meters long. There are two variants, Neva B, without backup radar units, and Neva B2M. With them, the radar's instrumental detection range is 45 kilometers. In addition, storage facilities and a living block on the platform were destroyed. It should be noted that during this attack, a marine drone of the FPV type was likely used, as evidenced by the radar being struck by a drone and the presence of objective control from a surface vehicle. Currently, the Ukrainian Defense Forces have a significant advantage in the Black Sea due to the active use of naval drones, which are employed both for reconnaissance and as kamikaze drones or naval drones for air defense.